Here with head coach Anna Nimz as Demons head out on the road this week to, crazily enough, start conference play. I don't think we've ever started this early in the season. 8 games in, and we'll certainly talk about that matchup with UIW in a moment. But Coach, looking back on this last game, obviously you got the win, but know some things we wanted to clean up and fix and get right for this game on Friday. Do you feel like the team has progressed and done the things you wanted them to do so far from that game as we prepare for Friday?
Yeah, I think we had a pretty tough day following that matchup. We had a pretty tough next day. But I think we understand, we were able to watch film, we recognized we had 20 unforced turnovers to 1 forced. And so that's not going to help us win too many ball games. So it's just being disciplined in our action and taking care of the ball, and every possession really matters. And so I think we were able to see it on film, correct it the next few days out, and I think I've seen a change just in their playing here in the last couple days. So happy with that, and obviously it's something we're going to have to continue to coach and harp on throughout the entire season to make sure we just continue to nip those turnovers and get that number down.
Obviously, will be a talking point and a focus throughout the rest of the year for sure. But like I said, getting into conference play early, adding new teams, new longer extended schedule. What's the challenges of playing a conference game? Obviously, they mean so much once you turn to the January portion, but you got to get off to a good start, and playing one early in the season. What are the challenges of that?
Well, I think it's just obviously by the time you hit January, you've gotten some of the kinks out. You've maybe figured out your rotations maybe a little bit more, and so I think the earlier you play, maybe you're still finding those rotations. You're finding your top 9, 10, or what number you ever play. But I think right now with our Texas swing and even that back-to-back game, I think it actually propelled us forward. And we did lose all 3, but we got better from Tarleton to A&M and definitely to UNT, and obviously had a tough go at playing back-to-back games, back-to-back 1 o'clock games. And so I thought they did a nice job. So I think they're ready for the challenge. I think conditioning-wise, they're going to be ready. And I feel like, our lineups are pretty settled in, but what's really fun is that our bench is coming off and really still contributing. And I think everybody's pretty engaged to moving into conference, and I like having one early. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not, but I think it's a good challenge, and it helps us measure up real quick, and then obviously have the rest of December to kind of get things corrected.
It feels like a good matchup in the sense that these last several years, these games with UIW have always been close. They've always come down to the fourth quarter, and those tense situations that you want to prepare for, and it feels like Friday's game will be that again.
I would like to say not. It would help my nerves. But we've had that close situation with UNT. Had 2 different possessions in which we got a look that we wanted. We didn't knock it down, and that's just part of the game. But I thought the girls stayed incredibly focused in those situations. So I think we're already ahead of the game in the ability to, if we are going to get into a tight one, we've seen it, and I think we got really close to experiencing some success. But again, we got the shots off, right? Whether the ball falls or doesn't fall, we can't always control. But they showed a lot of maturity in those situations. And so I do think they're ready if, in fact, this game has to come down to the fourth quarter. But I would like to think that we're going to go in incredibly prepared, incredibly focused against a really good team, and try to maybe pull away a little bit more.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about UIW. What have you seen from them? Now, obviously, they played a similar type of schedule with some Power 5s, some non-D1s mixed in there. So what have you seen and gathered from them?
They got a lot of scoring power. I think they run a very intricate offense. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of reads to it. So we're going to have to be very detail-oriented. Communication is going to have to be a high premium. But they have a handful of new kids. They lost a couple kids that were some pretty high firepower with De Leon and Collins. But they returned some kids, and they brought some transfers in that are really able to play in their system really well. It's kind of which team's going to be able to work the kinks out faster. But Coach Dow always does a tremendous job, and it's going to be different matchups. I think there's going to be a little bit of a matchup problem both for them and for us. But we're going to collectively have to play the better game.
It seems like over the past few years, like I said, a lot of tight games, a lot of down to the fourth quarter and final few minutes and seconds, that both you and Coach Dow have been challenging each other with in-game adjustments throughout the game. So what are your thoughts on having to make those adjustments and maybe calling up a play or putting a player in a different spot maybe than they've seen so far this year?
Yeah, well, maybe not so much from what they've seen so far this year. They've played a very tough schedule. But what's maybe different from us last year to this year is I think we have more perimeter power. I think we have more shooters from the perimeter. I think Maya's done a tremendous job. She's making players around her better, and she's finding the hot hand. She's finding the open kid. And so, whereas we've had a lot of success in the past with our teams and playing UIW in the sense of playing down tight to the fourth quarter, maybe we were missing a few extra perimeter scoring powers, and I think we have that this year. So I'm excited about that, hoping to be able to spread the court in that situation. But then also, I think a lot of it goes back to a lot of the time in those third quarters we were up, and then we kind of got relaxed. And so it's going to be a matter of making sure that this year's team doesn't get relaxed and that it doesn't find its way so tight into the fourth quarter and then into overtime situations.
Coach, thanks so much.
Welcome.